What would you do if the one person you trusted most begged for your help, only to shatter your world with a single phone call? My name is Ethan, and this is the story of how my sister, Lily, turned my life upside down in a matter of days. It's a tale of loyalty tested, promises broken, and the faint hope that even in the darkest moments, redemption might still be possible. I hadn't seen Lily in years. Growing up, we were inseparable, two kids navigating a chaotic household with parents who fought more than they loved. Lily, 3 years younger, was my shadow, always trailing me with wide eyes and endless questions. I'd shield her from the yelling, sneaking her into my room to read comic books under a flashlight. But life pulled us apart. I moved to Chicago for a job as a mechanic, while she stayed in our small hometown, chasing dreams that never quite materialized. We'd text occasionally, but distance and time dulled our bond. Then, one rainy October evening, my phone buzzed with her name. Her voice was frantic, laced with tears. "Ethan, I'm drowning," she said. She'd lost her job, her apartment was on the verge of eviction, and she was months behind on rent. "Please, I need you. Move in with me. Help me cover the rent until I get back on my feet. I'll pay you back, I swear." Her desperation cut through me like a blade. I could hear the little girl who once clung to me during thunderstorms. Against my better judgment, I packed a bag, quit my job, and drove 300 miles to her cramped apartment in a rundown corner of our old town. The place was a mess, dishes piled in the sink, clothes strewn across the floor, and a faint smell of mildew hanging in the air. Lily greeted me with a hug so tight it felt like she was afraid I'd vanish. "You're saving me," she whispered. I promised to stay for a month, maybe 2, until she found work. I'd cover half the rent, buy groceries, and help her get back on track. It wasn't much, but I had savings, and she was family. Family doesn't turn away. The first few days were almost nostalgic. We cooked spaghetti like we did as kids, laughing over old memories. She seemed hopeful, talking about job interviews and a fresh start. I fixed her leaky sink, patched a hole in the wall, and even bought her a cheap coffee maker to brighten her mornings. But something felt off. She'd disappear for hours, claiming she was running errands, and her phone was always buzzing with texts she'd hide from me. I chalked it up to stress. People cope differently, right? Then came the twist I never saw coming. On the 5th day, I met her neighbor, Marcus, a wiry guy with a nervous smile who lived across the hall. He knocked on our door, asking if Lily was okay. "She's been acting weird," he said, glancing over his shoulder. "I heard her arguing with someone on the phone last night. Sounded intense." I brushed it off, but his words lingered. That night, I caught Lily slipping a small plastic bag into her purse. My stomach dropped. I confronted her, keeping my voice calm. "Lily, what's going on? Are you in trouble?" Her eyes flashed with panic, then anger. "Mind your own business, Ethan. I'm handling it." She stormed out, leaving me staring at the door. The next morning, I woke to pounding on the apartment door. 2 police officers stood there, their faces stern. "Ethan Carter?" one asked. Before I could answer, they grabbed my arms, cuffs snapping around my wrists. "You're under arrest for possession of illegal substances." My heart pounded. "What? I don't do drugs." They pointed to a backpack in the living roomy backpack, the one I'd brought from Chicago. Inside, they found a stash of pills I'd never seen before. I turned to Lily, who stood in the corner, her face pale, eyes fixed on the floor. "Lily, tell them!" I shouted. She said nothing, her silence louder than any confession. At the police station, the truth unraveled. Lily had called the cops, claiming she'd found drugs in my bag. The officers showed me her statement. She said I'd been acting erratic and she feared for her safety. Every word was a lie, but the pills were real, and they were in my bag. I spent 2 nights in a cell, my mind racing. Why would she do this? Was it the money? The apartment? Or something darker? When I was released on bail thanks to a sympathetic coworker from Chicago who wired me the cash, she went straight to Marcus. He was reluctant but spilled what he knew. Lily had been mixed up with a local dealer, a guy named Vince, who'd been pressuring her to move product to pay off a debt. Marcus overheard her on the phone, promising Vince she'd handle it. The pieces clicked. She'd planted the drugs in my bag, called the cops, and framed me to save herself. The betrayal burned deeper than anything I'd ever felt. I confronted her one last time. She was sitting on the apartment steps, smoking a cigarette, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. "Why, Lily?" I asked, my voice breaking. For a moment, her mask cracked. Tears streamed down her face. "I didn't have a choice, Ethan. Vince said he'd hurt me. I thought you'd get off easy. You're strong. You always were." Her words were a plea, but they couldn't undo the damage. I walked away, vowing never to look back. Months later, I was back in Chicago, rebuilding my life. The charges were dropped when a private investigator I hired tracked down security footage showing Lily buying the pills from Vince. She faced her own arrest, and I didn't visit her in jail. Part of me wanted to, but the scar she left was too raw. I kept thinking about the little girl who read comics with me, wondering where she'd gone. Maybe she was still in there, buried under bad choices and fear. Here's the thing about family, it's not just blood. It's trust, sacrifice, and the courage to stand by each other. Lily broke that, but I didn't. I helped her when she asked, even if it cost me. And maybe that's the real story, not the betrayal, but the choice to keep believing in second chances, even when they hurt. I don't know if I'll ever forgive her, but I hope one day she finds the strength to forgive herself. Until then, I carry the weight of her choices, and mine, knowing some bonds are too broken to mend, but love, somehow, endures.